What is going on, Honkai Star Rail community? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. So today we got my boy Sampo in the spotlight. We're going on a bit of a TC streak here with regards to Makima from Chainsaw Man, aka Kafka. Sushi reminds me of. We're going on a streak here trying to show you guys the potential damage of characters that are synergistic with dot compositions. And my boy Sampo is up next. But before we get into that, it was brought to my attention that Quantum does not deal dot damage, which I find incredibly annoying because they all technically deal dot damage, but they just decided that Quantum doesn't deal dot damage. Don't try to reason with me on that. I don't give a fuck what you say. It deals dot damage. It just doesn't deal dot damage. That's their ridiculous. I've been dealing with Hoyoverse's fucking Morse code of descriptions my entire goddamn tenure with Genshin Impact in this game. So it's really annoying that that doesn't deal dot damage, but everything else does. Like, good fucking lord, whatever. The description does blatantly say it doesn't say anything about a dot. So Quantum does not deal dot damage, therefore it will not work with Kafka's trigger. I wanted to get that out the way. And while we're on the topic, the elements that do deal dot damage are going to be wind, burn, bleed, and I'm missing one more. Oh, shock. Kafka, shock. So shock, burn, bleed, which is physical, and fire, and then wind shear. Those are the only elements that deal dot damage upon breaking an enemy shield. Now, in this video, we're going to be going over the difference between Sampo's break effect wind shear versus his regular wind shear, which comes from his talent, which again is a very fucking annoying thing, because why would you name two different entirely different equations that do completely different damage the same name? It's so damn cringe. Like, this language barrier shit that I deal with from foreign games is one of the most annoying things a theory crafter can deal with. Now, don't get me twisted, I love Chinese, I love Japanese, but the goddamn translators need to get it together, because this shit is so annoying to decipher and try to educate people on, because you have things that are named the exact same name but have completely different multipliers. Same thing with additive damage bonuses and multiplicative damage bonuses. Okay, I'm done with my first world problems of venting about deciphering the Morse code. Let's go ahead and talk about Sampo. My boy does break effect wind shear damage and then talent wind shear damage. I did some testing earlier today and I learned the exact intricacies of the equations, what influences the damage of his talent wind shear and what influences the damage of his break effect wind shear. And I got some pretty interesting results. They are definitive. We got the receipts. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we have a scenario laid out for you guys today. This has already been recorded, so we're going to look at the footage to show the receipt. But I took my level 40 Sampo and I went up against a level 54 Void Trampler. And I basically did some experimenting with the equations to figure out what influences the damage of Sampo. And I found some very interesting things. One, this 1.21, and again, we're going to show you all of this, but this 1.21 right here is my Sampo's burst damage bonus. So his burst says increase dot damage by a specific amount of percent. What I learned is that his burst damage bonus to the dot is multiplicative, meaning it's a completely separate multiplier from the additive damage bonuses that come from wind damage percent bonuses and his light cone that increases his dot damage. So here's an interesting thing. His light cone says increase dot damage by 24%, which is this right here. That does not apply to his break effect wind shear, nor does it apply to anybody else's break effect dots. So it only applies to the dots that deal damage based off of your attack percent. Like his talent, like Asta and Hook's talent, it will apply to that. It won't apply to the break effect. So that was interesting. And then the other one was his burst is a multiplicative dot increase damage bonus right here, separate from the additive damage bonuses. And it also affects break effect wind shears as well, or break effect shocks and break effect fucking other dots. Again, I gave you the other 4 dots earlier that are actually break effect dots: fire, physical, wind, and shock. So his burst will literally increase the break effect dot damage of all those elements, which is actually insane and boosts his value immensely with dot oriented compositions. Now, the next thing that's worth noting, so that you can get a good idea how strong Sampo will be in the end game, is that wind shear dots last 2 turns, the break effect ones. So if you break somebody's shield with a wind character, they're gonna put a wind shear dot on them. If they're elite, they get 3 stacks. If they're a regular mob, they get 1 stack. That dot will last 2 turns, whereas the quantum, not dot, the quantum whatever the hell you want to call it, when you break somebody's shield with a quantum character, that only lasts one turn. Even though its multiplier is much higher, it makes sense that it lasts one turn because its multiplier is much higher. So the reason that's important to know is because if wind shear break effect lasts 2 turns and somebody comes out like Kafka who can literally trigger that dot multiple times, then now you can trigger that dot multiple times on 2 separate turns, which increases that damage significantly. Now I prepared a slideshow for you guys on the next one that you'll see to understand how significant that's going to be. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at the receipt. We got 3 stacks. This is going to be break effect wind shear damage. We got 1 times 3 stacks times the level multiplier. I'm level 40, so my little multiplier is only 364 on my Sampo. This is literally the equation for what you're going to do with your break effect wind shear depending on your level. Okay, so then we have Sampo's burst. I used his burst to increase his dot damage further. That's 1.21. This is going to solidify that his burst is actually multiplicative and does affect break effect. You're going to see because I get the same exact damage as the damage in the game, which and I got that by inserting his burst into the equation. So that literally undisputedly proves that his burst affects break effect wind shear. Anyways, this is the whole entire equation. This is his burst. This is the multiplier at level 40. This right here is going to be my Sampo's break effect percentage. I have 59.8% increased break effect percent. And then finally, this is the defense of the enemy I'm going up against. Level 40 Sampo versus level 54 Void Trampler is going to give you 0.447. Down here is going to be the talent wind shear. My Sampo has 1040 attack. The talent percent, I'm only level 2 talent, so it's a 22% multiplier of his attack. I get 5 stacks on his head in the footage, and then we multiply that times Sampo's light cone damage bonus, and that's the only damage bonus I had on him. I didn't have a wind damage sphere. And then I got Sampo's burst, and then this is the defense multiplier. 945 and then 768 are the damage numbers that you're going to see, which will also confirm that this is indeed the equation. Now, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that since his shield is already down, we don't have to worry about dealing less damage through the toughness, because wind shear is actually impacted by the toughness of the enemy. So if their shield is down, it's times 0.9, whereas quantum is affected by the overall toughness of the enemy, which this guy's toughness is 300. So that would be a multiplier on a quantum element. But on a wind shear element, that doesn't matter. It doesn't even affect any of the equations. The only thing that affects the equation is their shield up or is their shield down, which means it's a 0.9 multiplier or a 1.0 multiplier. That's all you need to know. I know it's a lot confusing, but I got to explain that to the tryhards who aren't watching my content to learn. They're watching to learn if I know what I'm talking about. That's it. So here is the footage. He has 5 stacks of wind shear from Sampo's talent, and then he has 3 stacks of wind shear from breaking his shield with Sampo. This is the break effect wind shear, and this is the attack percent wind shear. So he's about to come up next here in a bit. I just need her to attack. I always slow things down because I want to make sure you guys see the footage. So I use Sampo's ult to make sure I put the dot on his head. That's going to increase dot damage by 21%. And that's multiplicative, like I said. And that's this little symbol right here. Boom. So we got 944 and 769. Okay. Come back here. We got 945 and 768. Again, you throw in some decimals, literally the exact same damage, which confirms that this is the intended equations. That's how they work. And it also confirms that his burst is indeed multiplicative because it's a separate multiplier from the additive, which is crazy. That means it's going to make Kafka so much stronger and any other dot character so much stronger. No matter if they're break effect or regular, the burst is popping off. And the last thing that I want to show you guys is wind shear lasts 2 turns, right? So when this guy goes again, he's going to take these damage pops on the head again. And what's crazy is now his shield is up. This is going to confirm that the multipliers with shield, whether it's up or down, also apply to the equation as well. Remember I told you 0.9 or 1.0? Now that his shield is up, these are going to take a 0.9 or 10% damage reduction, meaning I'm going to deal less damage on these next 2 dots. And I'll go ahead and tell you, 945 and 768, all we got to do is pull up our trusty calculator here. Let's bring it over here. So 945 times 0.9 is going to be 850. So that's going to be, you're going to see that as a number. And then 768 times 0.9 is going to be 691. So we're looking for 850 and 691 on this next wind shear dot right here. We gotta wait on him to come up again though. Okay, he's about to go. 850, 692. I literally just told you guys 692 and 850. So this confirms that 0.9 and 1.0 are the multipliers for wind shear, not however big their toughness bar is. You see what I'm saying though? This shit is so goddamn confusing, guys, because it's a different equation for different elements, and it's just like, it's convoluted. I'll be honest with you. It's very annoying to theory graph because so many different things work entirely differently. Anyways, let's get on to the more important thing. How strong can Sampo be in the in-game max investment, not including Kafka, because Kafka can actually make him stronger. I just don't want to get into it because it's leaked territory. But how strong can he be with somebody like Silverwolf or without Silverwolf? This is the next thing I prepared for you guys. So if we take a level 80 Sampo, he's not E6 or E5, by the way. This is just a level 80 Sampo at E0. So if we take a level 80 Sampo versus a level 90 Void Trampler, same opponent, his break effect wind shear is going to deal 15,385 damage. If you throw Silverwolf's defensive shred burst on top of her debuff from her skill's 10% debuff to all type resistances, 23,000 damage from 15,000. That's a massive damage jump. Finally, what would his talent do? 6,926 dot damage. And then with Silverwolf, 10,313. Now, guys, this is not E5 and E6 Sampo. E6 Sampo will turn this into about 10,000 damage. He'll turn this into about 16,000 damage. So if you think about this, if Kafka's influence is in here, which she can trigger dots multiple times, think about her triggering 23k and 16k down here if you have an E6 Sampo. If you don't, then keep it at 10k. We'll keep it at 10k. 33,000 triggered twice is 66,000. Pop her burst, if she triggers it third time, that's 99,000. It's 100,000 damage. Now here's the crazy thing. Wind shear lasts 2 turns. So on the second turn, she can at the bare minimum proc it again, which means that's another 66,000 damage times 0.9 because the enemy shield will be up by then, right? We're looking at 166,000 damage with Sampo, which is actually nuts because my boy was actually shunned upon by the community for the longest. Now, in their defense, he's never had any real supportive pieces to really play around with, such as Silverwolf and Kafka, but he's now starting to get his pieces, which means my boy's time is coming. Now, again, one more time, this is not including any damage bonuses that Kafka can actually give to the party for dots. She might have a multiplicative damage bonus in her kit as well. And if she does, these numbers go up even higher for him. So that's actually pretty damn huge, man. And I'm looking forward to building up my Sampo to run him with a Kafka. It's going to be real fun. While I'm waiting on the screen to load here, I'm also going to be making a video soon next about Sampo and how to build him effectively, the best way to build him, best build guide. I told you I don't like making things all in one video because I don't like making 30-minute videos. I don't think the human attention span is going to watch a full 30-minute video for the most part. So I'll make a Sampo build guide on how to build him too, because I think it's very confusing to build Sampo if you don't know how he works. Anyways, here we go. Let's go ahead and go over to my Sampo. Pull this bad boy up. Okay, so first things first, 59.8% break effect. That's my Sampo. That was also in the math. Finally, his light cone, a 24% damage bonus. That was also in the math for the talent wind shear. And then finally, I told you he's only level 2, 21% dot increase. And then he's also level 40. So as you can see, everything is as true as it can possibly be. True. Hopefully this video brought you some value, guys, on how Sampo works and what his potential is. As always, man, y'all take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm so happy that my AC is getting fixed tomorrow. Dear God.